Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sharin Stories. I'm your host, Peaks, with my two beautiful co hosts, Sarah States and Paul Christian. This is not a therapy session. You will not find mental health professionals here, nor are we a substitute for said people. We are just people sharing our stories with mental health. On the podcast today, we welcome Dominic. Dom is a 28-year-old from Buffalo. As both a caring and hardworking individual, he currently cares for his quadriplegic father while also being a certified personal trainer. Though we knew each other in high school, I've never been lucky enough to know his full story, and I want to make sure he has a chance to tell it today. So, everybody, please welcome Dom. Thank you very much for coming on, Dom.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really don't know what to say. What you guys do is honestly absolutely incredible. I'm not even trying to be facetious, but I heard Conor McGregor read The Secret and like it changed his life. And after hearing your guys' podcast a couple weeks ago, I'm not exaggerating. I listened to it probably 4 or 5 times, and it's not like I listened to it and like now I think I'm gonna be a millionaire or anything like that. But what I took from it is that like it's like alchemy of it helps you turn whatever experience you're having and turn it into love and happiness. And like love and happiness, honestly, I can't express to everybody is literally the most powerful thing in the universe. But I really appreciate and commend everything you guys are doing. And it's an absolute privilege to be able to have my story be heard. So thank you very much.
I I don't think you realize how that much that means to us as a whole, Dom. We really do appreciate it, and like no doubt in our mind that the this is all made possible and so easy because of people like you that are just unbelievable and willing to kind of let people know that they're not alone and that there is, other people struggling and other people doing these things. But like you said, love and happiness is beautiful.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
want to
and I'm
say
gonna.
everyone,
I'm.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to
No,
say
it's
that
okay.
Dom, he always like responds to our Instagram posts and also to like other guests. Like he'll like write the sweetest, like most genuine, thoughtful responses. And I just think that is the most amazing thing.
Yeah, I'm crying right now because I just feel for like I don't know, man. Like we all literally go through the same, excuse my language, but the same shit. And like
Don't
man,
fucking worry about it.
yeah, thank you, my man. Yeah, I literally think what you guys are doing is absolutely beautiful, and I'm very very grateful and appreciative. So thank you very much.
Of course, man. So we love this talk about sharing stories, but we do want to get to you, Dom. So generally, I would start you off with just like a 2-minute introduction about yourself. But if you want to work that into just your full story and kind of get it going, that would be fantastic. And we'll be here at any time you want to take a break or anything you want to kind of rest off and get some questions in there. We'll be available. So just take it away when you're ready.
Yeah. Absolutely. I guess the first thing I'll mention is that I am a personal trainer. Personally, I've gone through a lot of like body images, all of that stuff, self-esteem issues. So if anyone needs help, I didn't get it to get for lucrative purposes at the moment. So if anyone needs help, like honestly, just hit me up. I really believe I can help you and stuff. But yeah, so I guess where everything changed for me was in August of 2014. I worked at a country club, Park Country Club. It's on Sheridan from anyone in Buffalo. I had to ride my bike there 8 miles every day because I got a DUI, which I accept and like I honestly felt better. Like I felt like I was paying for what I did wrong. So at the end of every night, everybody would polish silverware and like have whatever dumb conversations. And I was a super like private guy. I would just go to work, just wanted to do my job and like go home as soon as possible. So this night they it was the Sabres alumni event. So I actually took a picture with Rob Ray like a couple moments before, which is like one of the last pictures I had smiling. But everyone's polishing silverware and they're like, So how many kids would you want to have, you know, when you're older and everyone's going around there like, how about you, Dom? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5. Like, it sucked a lot growing up, you know, having a lot of brothers and they would steal my deodorant. And I'm not exaggerating. I swear to God, I said, I literally miss my brother stealing my deodorant today. So I used to work out after work. And so on my bike ride to World's Gym, which is like half a mile from my work, I called my brother Carmen, and I don't know how to tell you guys. Like, it's not that he was always by his phone or anything like that, but he didn't answer, and something just did not. It really didn't feel right. So I go and I work out. I ride my bike home about 8 miles. I stop at NOCO, which is the gas station across the street from my house. I really don't know how to explain this. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And I think that maybe I saw them and like subconsciously it hit me. But like literally like in the movies, everything in the world stopped. And I just saw these two cops going down the street, like in slow motion. I cannot, I don't know how to explain it to you. So I go home, I ride my bike up, and I said, "Oh, how are you doing, gentlemen?" "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am." And I started laughing, and I'm like, I didn't, you know, I felt bad because it was dark. I didn't realize it was a woman. So she's like, "Oh, it's okay. Can we talk to your dad?" My dad comes to the door. He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got to talk to you over there." So I go inside, and at this point, like obviously, like my brother wasn't on drugs, nothing like that. Like, there's no reason I should think anything's wrong with my brother. My brother Andre comes downstairs. He goes, "Yo, is everything all right?" Like, I swear to God, I said, "Yeah, I just hope Carmen's okay." I go upstairs to my bedroom. I look out the window and I see my father talking to the cops. He just shakes his head. So I go back outside and I look at my father dead in the eyes and I said, "Is everything okay?" Shakes his head, yes. I said, "Is Carmen okay?" Looks me dead in the eyes, and I've never seen a human being with a more emotionless face. Looked me dead in the eyes and shook his head and said, "Yes, Carmen's okay." I guess that he just went in the bedroom and like crawled in the fetal position, couldn't tell me. So the next morning, I have a lawyer's appointment that's like 12 miles away, and I have to ride my bike again. Quick side story: I used to wear a white, like, I had 30 pairs of sweatpants and all white t shirts, so I never had any style. My brother Carmen had $20 in his pockets, and he's like, "Yo, let's go to Urban Outfitters." He's like, I'm gonna buy you a shirt. You can't just like, you gotta fucking dress up every once in a while. I I literally get mad. I get mad at him. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna fucking take your last $20 so that you can buy me a t-shirt. Man, he was literally disappointed. I could still see the look on his face. He was literally disappointed. He couldn't buy me the $7 shirt. That was like, okay, whatever, man. Just you know, you could buy me the shirt or whatever. So he buys me this peach shirt, and I'm back in Buffalo. I don't wear it for like months. I don't know what happened that morning. I decided to wear this T-shirt and sweat my balls out for 12 miles to the Eastern Hills my lawyer's office, right? So I go to my lawyer's appointment. My grandfather calls me, who's just like, he's like literally like a machine. I don't know how he did it, but he's like, "I got to pick you up, Dominic. We got to have a little talk." And I started getting real upset. I'm like, you know, what do we got to talk about, man? If you got to tell me something, tell me now, like whatever it is. So we go to his house, and then that's when I found out my brother had passed away. And he just graduated from Columbia College on the dean's list with the 3.87 GPA. We literally talked about moving to California together. And I literally believed in him becoming director in Hollywood. But something I want to talk about that, like, as far as the good things of grief, is that the one thing I want people to understand is that, like, I swear to God, nothing matters besides how you make everybody around you feel. Like, when you're in a casket, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and are like, "You don't know, your brother made me feel accepted when I felt ashamed of like this way or that way." And like, My brother didn't wear socks. My brother didn't fucking, excuse my language, get his driver's license. But like he just made everybody genuinely feel good about themselves and accepted. And like that is literally all we have to leave behind us is how we make people feel about themselves. And like the good thing with grief too is that it allows you to be free to reinvent yourself. So like it it prioritizes what's really important to you and you don't have to force it where you just want to live the way you want to live. And there's really no wrong way to grieve as long as it's healthy. I'm not, suggesting anybody, you know, takes a bunch of pills and like, forget about it. But like just because somebody comes up to you and says, "Oh, I've gone through the same thing," they might be projecting their own expectations on where they were at in their own journey, and you can't you can't allow that to inhibit your own thoughts and your own experiences. So you just have to like feel the way you're feeling and not be apologetic for it. But so for the second part, and believe it or not, this is like really where my mental health like I used to not even say like my brother's event was traumatic, but like this next part is like where I felt my mental health take a dip, and that's where like I really got scared. So my dad is and I want to explain because I know people that have lost their fathers when they were like very like small children and have never had a dad, and like I I can't tell you how much of a piece of shit I feel like explaining this story because I know people that like haven't even have a dad. So I just want to reiterate that for me, the hard part of this next part was my own helplessness. Like that is something that didn't mesh with my own personality. But like I am very, very, very grateful my father's still alive today. So about 3 years ago, my father was 47 years old. I don't know. I'm not like trying to sound like a clairvoyant. Like I don't know how to explain it to you that like I knew something was wrong with my dad. Every time I would go and talk to him, his stomach got real big. He had holes in his arms like an infection. And but he's like a real tough guy. And I would just say, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. So on the 4th of July one time, my mom's like, Dad's passing out in the bathroom again. And I literally I feel like an asshole. I got upset. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the man has to go to the hospital. I know he's a tough guy, but like, he's got to go get himself checked out. Like, you're putting this stress on me. What do you want me to do to help? So a couple months go by. He goes a couple times to the hospital. I remember one of the last times he went. I gave him a hug, and I had tears coming down my face. I didn't mean to. And he looked at me confused, and he's like, Dominic, I'm telling you right now, if there was something wrong with me, I would tell you. Man, that killed me. So a couple months go by, and I'm going out to work. It's like 12:55, and whatever, you have to be like dressed up. And my dad's sick, and I said, Dad, it's just a banquet job. Like I could fucking, excuse my language, I could make this. I could pick up this job anywhere else. Tell me if I got to call in at work. I'll be there for you. Whatever. No. It's fine. It's fine. I'm walking out the door. I hear her. Oh, Bridget, what if I'm stuck like this forever? And when I was a little kid, he had a back accident where he was in the bottom of a stone quarry and a steel beam fell on his back. So I thought like maybe his back just locked up or whatever. So I go to work. I call the hospital and they're like, "Oh no, yeah, we sent him away." And this is when like something ain't right. So I call my sister and they're like, "Yeah, he went to the one hospital. They didn't know what was going on with him, so he's at Kenmore Mercy right now." So I get off of work. I go to Kenmore Mercy. He literally is like gasping for air because the paralysis is like working his way up through his chest. They think he has this disease, an autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome. So I kept asking my mom and calling her and stuff, and I'm like, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" I ended up giving she's like, "You better not say anything," because she knew like I was like, I wanted him to go to the hospital beforehand, so she felt guilty like that something was so wrong. And she's like, you better not say anything, you better not say anything. So I go to the hospital, and he literally can't move anything from his chin down. He's 48 years old, and he got hit by a steel beam, supported our entire family doing concrete after like 8 fucking back surgeries with fake vertebrae and like steel cages and stuff, while my mom could go to school and become a doctorate. My mother had all 4 of us by the time she was like 22. My dad adopted my sister when they were like 17 years old and like never said another word about it. So like he's the most selfish person I ever met. So I just felt like I literally had a nervous breakdown. And at the time I literally knew what was going on was like a nervous breakdown. So I couldn't even help it. So it took like 2 or 3 months. He was in the hospital for a year and a half, and he's literally cried. I've cried 100 times more than him. I don't know how. I've seen his eyes watered up once when he came home from the hospital after a year and a half. But yeah, they thought it was Guillain-Barré, then it was transverse myelitis, and then after like 4 months, we found out that it was a spinal stroke, which is like literally one of the rarest things that could happen to a person. So today he's perfectly fine. He's really happy. The Bills did great. But his hands are stuck. Like, and that's one of the hardest things to watch too, is that like his hands don't work. Like you would think if you were paralyzed, like, holy shit, at least I could like video game or something all day. Like his hands are stuck like paws. Um, I don't know. I don't know. And it made me think today, like, just of like, it was messed up, like feeding him for the first time, and watching him, like the way he had to tear his head off the food to like try to eat, and that like he was like just eating to make me feel better. Like that was some traumatic stuff, and I don't know, but yeah. So the last thing I want to say is that today I just I smoke, to be honest. I take caffeine to get out of bed, little no-dose pills. I take antidepressants. I'm supposed to take them every day, but I take them like once every 4 days because it makes my face look puffy and shit, and like I don't know, it's just bad. But I want to just leave everything off with a Bruce Lee quote, and I'm not like a reader guy, so just bear with me. But I am learning to understand rather than immediately judge or be judged. I cannot blindly follow the crowd and accept their approach. I will not allow myself to indulge in the usual manipulating game of role creation. Fortunately for me, my self knowledge has transcended that, and I have come to understand life is best to be lived and not conceptualized. I am happy because I am growing daily, and am honestly not knowing where the limit lies. To be certain, every day there can be a new discovery. I treasured the memory of my past misfortunes, for it has added to my bank of fortitude. So yeah, whatever questions you guys have, yep.
I mean, riddled with them right now, but I'd like to start by saying I really do appreciate just the full on honesty. There are some details in there that you threw in that were, I mean, I'm sure tough for you to bring up in the first place. And if I do bring them back up at any point with questions, I do apologize and know that all questions we do ask are not needed to be answered in any way. But it is amazing what you've done, and it sounds pretty amazing what a lot of your family has done to kind of be there for each other, and the just different lessons that it seems like your father has taught you. And I do want to kind of start there, and I want to jump back into the night before you found out, where you first looked at your father and you popped and you came out on the front lawn, and you brought this up, and you called it like the most emotionless face you've ever seen in your life. Like, looking back at that moment, is that something that you understand why you got that kind of reaction? Or is it something you might be angry about or feel like maybe that was the right way to do it? Is there any thoughts on why you brought that up really in the first place?
Man, yeah, dude, I promise there's nothing, I will literally talk about anything. I've I've been to jail and mental institution. I've had insecurity. So, and I know that everybody has had the same feelings in some form or another. So it's never anything I'm ashamed to talk about. But yeah, it's tough, man. I wish my father is literally one of the, he's got something ridiculous about him that I can't even put into words of like a strength of that. He would die for a family and like genuinely not like want anybody to know that he even did it. Like he would do it out of the pureness of his heart. But like, man, he's just a very, very special human being, and he just didn't want. I don't know, man. He couldn't deal with seeing the hurt on my face. And the ironic part is that like my heart just breaks for him knowing that at that moment where I was at, and then thinking in my head that this man just went and crawled into a ball and like held himself and cried and didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. It was it's tough. And it's tough too because he's Carmen Marinaccio the second, and like the Italian thing is to name their firstborn son Carmen Marinaccio. So all the Carmen Marinaccios, my grandfather's cool, but like my dad's paralyzed. He's Carmen Marinaccio the second. My brother passed away at 24, and he's Carmen Marinaccio the third. So it's just like it's like a tough family legacy, and like I don't know, like I feel an obligation of like I should be doing so much for our family's name and stuff. But yeah, there's just so many emotions that go into it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, parents are just absolutely unbelievable in what they're able to hide from their kids to protect them or make them feel better just for that little bit of time that they can. I definitely have some moments with my mom that I can name that where the same exact thing happened. Not even near your level of discomfort, but overall, it's just amazing what these people will do. And it's so nice to recognize them in these situations and let them know.
I think it's also like parents in that sort of moment, they have to process the news that they've just received in order to put it forth to their children. I'm just thinking back to when I found out that my brother was in the hospital before he passed. It was like I called my dad, and he also said that everything was fine. And like we all knew, like I think it was like clear to them because they were there that everything was not fine. But I wasn't in Buffalo at that time. So I just had to like take that and sort of like sit with that. Like that was all the news that I got. And it was kind of like what you said, Dom, like kind of like an emotionless, just like, yeah, everything's okay. I just haven't thought about that in a long time. But I think like he was still trying to figure out like what he was processing and trying to like swallow it before he could approach me with what was going on too.
Yeah, I mean these things
Man,
are just
yeah, it's really hard for me to hear about other people's like siblings like passing stuff. I had no idea, Sarah. Like I can't. I really don't have words to like. I don't know what to say. Like I'm so sorry. Like that just. But like
You
just
didn't
the
have
way
to
you
say
said it, like I
anything.
know that. Yeah, yeah, I know. I feel like crying. I'm sorry
No.
though. Yeah, sorry.
don't be sorry.
I'm an emotional guy.
That's all right. I want to turn it. I want to turn it and kind of go to this reinvention that you talked about, the beauty of grief, anyways, and kind of maybe give us a little bit less to cry about and talk about that new lifestyle and outlook that you gained through all this. The unbelievable, you know, uh, way of just what only thing that matters is caring about the people around you and making people around you feel good. I just kind of want to know, was this like something that kind of took time to come to this realization? Is it something that just snapped for you? And how have you kind of changed your life since that moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, really, really quick. I'll try to make this story really quick because this totally changed my grief. So, my brother was absolutely obsessed with this band called Every Time I Die. They're from Buffalo, right? From when he was like 12 years old, like he was like legit notorious for loving this band. So I'm like a square kid. I never like drugs. I just like sports and shit, working out. So my brother goes, there's this guy, Andy Williams. He's the guitarist of this band, and he's a personal trainer, so he just likes helping people, but he doesn't do any drugs or anything like that. He's tattooed all over. This guy's just like super intense, but he's a really good person. You should come to this concert. So we go to this place on it was called Eagle Street Bar or some shit like that on Mohawk Place. So we go, and they're actually on Guitar Hero 3, so they're like a legit band. We go in this little tiny bar, and they're talking or whatever, and this dude like just shreds this first chord, and I'll never forget. There was 80 people in this bar, and it was like literally one of the craziest moments of my life. So throughout the whole thing of my brother, I was, and this is really hard for me to admit because I have a lot of pride, and honest to God, I've never partied, I've never experimented with drugs or anything like that, but I was on Adderall for ADHD and stuff like that. So that messed me up for a while. So to get off Adderall, I bought an MP3 player for like $30 because it had the wireless headphone capability, and I would downloaded the song that played at that concert, and I would run down the street down my street or whatever, and just like working out or whatever helped me get off of it. So 2 months goes by, and to get my confidence up, I joined a gym. The closest gym to me is this Anytime Fitness. It's 5 minutes away from my house. I dropped my MP3 player one day. This girl picks it up, and she looks at it and she smiles and she hands it back to me. And I'm like, all right, bet this hot tattoo girl likes hardcore music, whatever. 2 months go by, man. I literally fell to my knees. The guitarist of Every Time I Die, walks into the gym that I'm working out at, and there's literally 4 people in the gym, and one of them is this Andy Williams. So I go up to him, I tell him the story about my brother when we were in New York City on Fuse TV. He literally is like, oh, Every Time I Die is playing, I got to go see him. Takes the train by himself. He's like 14 years old, lifts up a shirt, and he's like, oh, I love Every Time I Die. And Every Time I Die is like, oh, we got one crazy fan from Buffalo. Tell this guy the story. He literally just looks at me and his eyes start watering, and he's like, that's your brother? He gave me a hug, and he's a professional wrestler on TNT now. He started following me on Instagram, but when he gave me that hug, I can't tell you, like, all of my like pain just went away. Like I still cry about him all the time for sure, but it's not like painful like it used to be. Like it's cool, I'm crying about him, like I love my brother, whatever. But this guy to come into my life at that gym and work out at the same time when like I wanted to work out to help people, but I had, whatever anger issues and shit. Like it was just so crazy for me that like I don't even know how to explain it. But sorry, to get back to what you were asking, like I literally don't care anymore about like I try to enjoy every day just for like whatever experiences it may bring. I cannot control everything that's going to happen to me, but like I don't care if something makes me happy. I try to figure it out for like my genuine self of like, wow, I like that. Like flowers. I literally never liked flowers in my entire life. I always wore like flower print clothes and stuff, but I never liked them. And then I saw a bonsai tree somewhere. It's like those mini trees you like shape up and stuff. That's like a Japanese art. And I don't know. I told my mother, and God bless her soul, she bought me a bonsai tree this past Christmas. And I get real bad seasonal depression, so I just bought like a grow light and a grow tent with my stimulus check, thanks to New York. But every day I wake up, it's right next to my bed. Like most people would think like you're a fucking weirdo. You got a garden right next to your bed, but I can't tell you how happy it makes me. So I just think for myself of like, if it makes me happy, I don't don't worry about what anyone else thinks. Like, let it make you happier. Appreciate the fact that like you're alive and feel happy. Like, people will accept you so much more. I can't tell you how many people hit me up and they're like, "Yo, I love flowers." Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't care, and they're like people you would never guess or whatever. So I don't know. Like, any insecurities you have, we all have them, and people will appreciate you more when you let them know that like you got them too. You know. So I don't know. I don't know.
I just want to say that I literally, I'm so glad you're not on camera right now. I don't know if you can see us or if you can't see us, but I can't stop crying. And I have tears that are pulling up on my sweatshirt. It's so embarrassing. But I should share that with you. Like, I think what you just said about flowers and being happy and like grief is so beautiful. And I just like, it's just, I can't even talk.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put myself on camera because I'm crying. And literally every time I went over the stuff, I try not to cry, but I I I can't like express to people like how much like I just like feel for them, whatever they're going through. Like, I've been there. Like, honestly, I've been at the lowest of the low, and that's what I literally was driving the other day and started crying because of what The Secret did to me. And it's not like some amazing thing that has ever happened to me, and that I think like I'm gonna manifest in some millionaire or anything like that. But the fact that like I haven't felt joy since I was 12 or 13 years old, and like that book made my life didn't change at all, but how I viewed everything like has changed, and that like so many of those things have echoed throughout my own life, and that like I didn't know a way to word or identify it, and to hear it like in words. And like I could really go down a rabbit hole about like there's a negative and a positive in light in life, and that there's a sun and a dark, and that everything's actually symmetrical. There's the good and bad, woman, man. Women promote life, men take life, like water, heat, everything is in an opposite balance, and that everything literally is an opposite and an attraction. And like just how much like it made sense to me. I literally cried, and I wasn't even like sad. I was just like, man, I didn't even know since I was like this like, I haven't felt like I had as I was a little kid when everything meant joyous and stuff. I didn't even know that I was numbed out to it or whatever. You know what I mean? So like it's been a long and dark road, but if I honestly can find some joy in anything, literally any single person can, and I promise you that. I promise you that.
Goes back to one of the things he said earlier. Feel the way you feel unapologetically. It's a beautiful, beautiful act. It's the way it should be done. And like, it makes me think, though, you recognize then now at this point that a lot of that, like childhood and stuff, do you feel like you did hold in emotions, or were you always kind of this open and on the surface?
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't swim till I was in high school. I'm afraid of roller coasters. Like, those things growing up in like a masculine household where my father and my brothers are absolutely fearless, and they're socially fearless. And if I go somewhere, I'm absolutely terrified. I need that security blanket of like somebody needs to like, I need to know somebody that I'm close with that I can sit on their coattails all day and like have that like security blanket. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. The more I get older, I guess I realize that like the more it doesn't matter if like somebody's a masculine guy or not. They might like a flower because it's beautiful, or for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like, that really has nothing to do with anything. So as I get older, I guess I try to make a point of like pointing out my flaws or that my insecurities or the things I like worry about, because I honestly, it makes me feel better that like I know other people are going through the same, like literally the same exact thing. And once you know somebody else is going through the same exact thing, there's like nothing to worry about. Like if you're scared about something and someone else is like, listen, you don't even know. Like I've been I've been tripping about that for a while. Whatever. Like you're just like you feel comforted and you're like, oh man, that person's not going to judge me because they know what it's like to go through it or whatever. But yeah, I'm still working on being honest and open with the way I'm feeling, and yeah, still try to work on uh trying to find things that only make me feel good or whatever. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. Everybody's still working on those things, so don't
Yeah,
think you're
yeah,
alone there.
absolutely. Yeah.
It sounds like to me that you've really, like when you were telling your story and through, the sort of traumatic events that you've experienced in your life, to me, it sounds like you've really revisited those events in your head and really explored them and really sort of sorted your way through them, which is something that, from my own experience, I don't think that I've been willing to do or able to do. Like, I just really like how, like, almost like philosophical, like this view you have of like what you've been through. And that can only happen if you've like seriously processed and seriously like gone back and done some work on, yeah, I've experienced this, this is what happened, and then like sort of do work through that. And that's like sort of like grief exploration. And I feel like I can't go back there. Like I just like I am the type of person that, like when my brother died, for example, like yeah, I remember like all the details, like the scary details of like how I found out, what I was doing, like what went down in those like 24 hours and like all that stuff. But I literally never opened that door. Like once that happened, I like closed that door and I was like, no, like you're not going to go back down there again. Like you're just going to move forward. So I'm curious, like in the years, I can't exactly remember when it was that your brother passed, but in the years after that, like what did you, were you willing to like open those doors and think about it right away? Or was this something that took a while?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I'll say about my brother's like fashion of passing is, you know, I I didn't know what happened for a long time. I knew that he had broken up with his girlfriend. I knew he was found in a hotel room, dressed in a tuxedo. I knew that he tweeted something about, suggesting the, kind of details of what he was feeling at the time and stuff, but I never had like cement like proof of like, your brother took his own life or anything like that. And like that part, I can't tell you. Like I'm the type of person like just tell me what is going on and then I could deal with it. But like to not know like just drives me absolutely nuts. But I've also have been like I ever since I was a little kid, I don't know how to explain it, but like I've always just questioned like why. Like I've always just really, really tried to understand things, and it's incredibly interesting that you asked that question because one of the main things I wanted to mention was that like if you were to ask me right now how I feel about grief, it would be so much different than if you were to ask me, ask Dominic an hour ago of how I felt about grief. And if you asked me yesterday how I felt about grief, way different. And then years and years ago. But one of the main things that I also believe is that like, uh, man, this is tough for me to say because if you don't feel comfortable like indulging in I don't not indulging diversing whatever you want to say into those things, jumping into those things, it's okay. Like I promise you it's okay, you don't have to, you really don't have to. Like But if you're ready to and stuff, and you want to accept it, then that's another thing. Like that's okay too. So like there is no wrong way to grieve. Whatever you're in it, your intuition, I believe, will tell you like if you believe you have to know, or if you believe that you have to have that understanding, then you will just naturally kind of those thoughts will naturally lend themselves and stuff. But it like a lot of it too, I feel like is like society of like, you should understand, or like I need to understand the way my brother passed or this way. But like you really don't. If you're not ready to, I swear to God, that's okay. Give yourself time. Like things will come when they're ready to come. Just forgive yourself, and you don't need to be anywhere else than where you're at. I promise you that. So
Well, thank you for that. And the last thing that I want to say is just that I think it's amazing how the universe sort of brings connections together, like when you need to hear them, or like little, like connecting the dots types things. And when you said in the beginning that like one of the last photos I think you took that you felt like really happy or like saw yourself joyful was with Rob Ray. And I just thought I'd tell you that Rob Ray was like a big part of my life growing up. And he spoke at my brother's funeral. Like he was like one of the only people to that we asked to prepare a speech. So it's just kind of like a weird coincidence that you brought him up.
even crazier is that because I thought about a long time about like ever since I was presented this like super grateful opportunity of being able to come on here. Like it naturally made me reflect on things that I didn't even like plan to like, oh, I should think about this. Like it just happened. But what's weird is that because I still feel absolutely horrible about last time I rescheduled on you guys. Absolutely ridiculous to me that like the whole secret is about that you're at where you should be, and like it gave me so much more perspective that I had to offer to not only you guys but hopefully the world and stuff, and like that I wouldn't have had the confidence to acknowledge or be able to reiterate, beforehand. And like literally, it was just crazy that night I was fortunate enough to be able to listen to that story or whatever. So like, I totally hear you for sure.
I was thinking just how insane the whole Andy Williams story was. Just that kind of fate, like that hits. It's like this universe really does at times kind of send us signs, or at least we kind of wish them into fruition, or to a certain extent, and stuff like that can just really change everything. Having these moments that just seem other outer worldly, almost like they shouldn't, like you're in a dream but it's real life. And it's not even because they're that amazing, or that it's just they're so like either coincidental or whatever it might be. Sometimes it is because they're that amazing, but like that's not always the case. And it just was so cool to hear that story, and just kind of how it was a big turning point for you. But sadly, Dom, we do not have the ability to extend this forever, because there are definitely some other things I'd love to touch into that were kind of mentioned briefly. But I do want to give you a chance just to kind of say any last things that you want to kind of bring up, or also any plugs for yourself. Like you said, you can kind of talk about that personal training, just kind of how you feel, where people can reach you, anything like that before we go.
Yeah, so I'm a personal trainer. Honestly, literally, if anybody needs help, I swear to God, I will do whatever I can to help you. No strings attached or anything like that. I never did it to try to make it as like a lucrative point in my life. I have other things that I'm fortunate enough to make money from. So I've been there if you need help. I just changed my username, so I actually don't know what it is. But it's if you search Dominic Marinaccio, DOMINICMARINACCIO, on Instagram or whatever, I'd be more than happy to help you. Or if you have any sort of issues at all whatsoever that you're going through and you feel comfortable to reach out. But other than that, I just want to say thank you so much to Sharin Stories I can't tell you what an impact mental health has had on my own personal life and on myself specifically. So God bless every single one of you. And thank you so much, honestly, for what you do every single day. Thank you.
Seriously, thank you, Dom, for coming on. I cannot say how much we appreciate the kind words, but also just you being here in the first place is kind enough. So with that being said, everybody at home, I hope you enjoyed the absolute amazing episode from Dominic, and let's continue to turn that mental health into mental wealth. Thank you.